state your name, your neighborhood, where you're from, and give me an opportunity to repeat that.
Aloha, Steve Harakami.
Are we still able to hear in the back? Yep, okay, good.
Steve Harakami, Kalapana.
Steve from Kalapana.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm here tonight to give a voice to our youth in the community. As you notice, they don't attend these meetings. There has not been one youthful speaker here, but I hear it a lot. I'm the director of Haas, the charter school here, and I hear it a lot from our youth. You know, our youth have had zero opportunity for recreation in this community. So their recovery, their mental health is really compromised by not being able to use the pool, use the skate park, or the covered courts, and the biggest loss to them is the ocean. So I thank the county for opening, they thank the county for opening the skate park on a limited basis, and they can't wait for it to return to full use. They can't wait for the pool to reopen and for the facilities to reopen. But mostly, we have a very important resource at Pohoiki. This is where the community gathered every weekend. It's a very important resource. It's the only open ocean access public in the whole Puna district, which is almost the size of Oahu. So this is a resource, and the children don't want to hear, and even the big children don't want to hear, no can. What we want to do is how can. We want to answer the question, how can. And we have a lot of smart people here in the community working together, and I noticed on your chart that collaboration, community engagement was very important. I know that we as a community can make it safe to reopen Pohoiki, and we need to work together because it is a very important recess for the whole community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. That's going to be my new takeaway too, is not no can, how can. I like that. Sir, you're next. Thank you.
Yes. My name is Robert Golden. I have a home in the mandatory evacuation zone.
Okay, so we're talking to Robert from the mandatory evacuation zone?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have two questions. One for civil defense. What are your specific criteria to determine that you can lift the mandatory evacuation zone classification? And two, my other question is to HVO, is do you consider homes in the mandatory evacuation zone under imminent danger? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Hi, my new friend Rene.
Aloha, my name is Rene Sirokusa. I live up the hill here in Kaohoi Homesteads,
Okay,
but
Rene
I work in Pahoa.
Okay.
So my question has to do with this redevelopment agency. We've heard it used, we haven't heard a lot of the details, like who appoints the members of the agency? How many people are going to be represented there? How are they going to be chosen? Will there be community at the table? I think that's a big thing that we want to know, not just that the community can provide input, but we can actually have a vote in the decision-making process. We've been told, I saw one tentative budget for the big ask from the state that had a couple of $1 million going to the redevelopment agency. And so my question is, are the people or agencies who sit on that agency going to be paid, and how is that salary going to be determined? And we need a lot more transparency here, and if we have it, we might be able to offer you some really good ideas, but if we don't have the information, we can't help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rene. Next question. And I'd like just to alert you that Ron is putting your questions up on the PowerPoint, or at least he was. Are we going to be able to get the questions up? Okay. So if you can read along, and if you think he hasn't quite gotten your point, you could reiterate, okay?
Okay.
So,
So let's see, my name is Tom Mason. I'm
Okay.
in the mandatory evacuation zone.
okay, we're talking with Tom from the mandatory evacuation zone.
And I wrote a letter to Tulsi Gabbard yesterday and actually received notice that she had received it, and I'd like to read it. My wife and I have owned property in Leilani Estates for a number of years, and we're in the final stages of construction when Madame Pelli started to act up. Our residence falls in the mandatory evacuation zone, and we have been restricted from free access since June 1st. We experienced daily as the lava weaved its way to the ocean, destroying homes and dreams in its way. Through the grace of God, our home was spared, and we looked forward to the possibility of resuming a rather chaotic 2018. It now appears the lava has mostly abated, but has recently shown signs of minor activity, which we were informed can be normal after a major eruption. This minor activity seems to be the reason the mayor has continued the emergency proclamation for another 60 days. I think this action, while appearing as a conservative measure, may have more covert intent. I do not normally subscribe to conspiracy theories, but my fear is that the administration's true motive is to eventually condemn the property in the mandatory evacuation for not yet declared purposes. You recently agreed with a transparency letter which was circulated, and I truly hope my worst fears are unfounded. Our life savings are in our little home in Leilani, and we do not have the resources in either time, i.e. 70 years old, or money to start over. I think another 60 days is unwarranted and would like to negotiate in good faith and in another time frame that would satisfy safety concerns and allow residents to resume their lives. Thank you for your attention. I look forward to your response. One more question. Is there a time that the barricades are going to be taken down that we could be told tonight? And time's up. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Next question. Hi.
Hello. Ian from HPP, but bringing questions from Friends Below the Rift.
Okay, Ian from HPP
So,
and Friends.
all right. So this is probably a question for Ron. Can the questions asked be checked against video of the meeting so they're accurately recorded and answered fully? Looking at last week's meeting notes, some questions are not recorded at all, and many are missing information that didn't get answered. Sorry, I'm checking to see. Okay, I'll let that one go. Maybe a question for HPD. How many incidents of theft or looting have occurred inside the restricted areas of Leilani, Papaya Farms, Pohiki Road, etc., after the checkpoints were put in place?
Could you repeat that, please?
Sure. How many incidents of theft or looting have occurred inside the restricted areas that include Leilani, Papaya Farms, Pohiki Road, etc., after the checkpoints were put in place?
Specific to those areas?
Specific to the entire area that's supposed to be protected by the
Okay.
checkpoints.
Okay, got it.
Last question. It's been over a month since the lava river has stopped flowing, and SO2 emissions are now the lowest level in over a decade, but still people are not allowed to return to their homes in the mandatory evacuated area. How is this not a regulatory taking of their property rights under the 5th and 14th Amendments of the U.S. Constitutions, which supersedes HRS 127A and Hawaii County Code Chapter 7? A regulatory taking. Thanks. I would like the full question recorded, please, Ron. Regulatory taking of their property rights under the 5th and 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution that supersedes HRS 127A and Hawaii County Code Chapter 7. And could that please be their property rights? Looks like I got a typo. So I'm not trying to hold up. Can you correct it to property rights, please?
Property rights.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next question is from
Jean Graham, Leilani Estates. And
Jean Graham, Leilani Estates.
we have been in the non-evacuation zone. We've been there the whole time.
Okay.
This isn't so much a question as it is a comment, and especially a warning for residents who have not been there, who are, excuse me, residents who are not currently there, but who may be moving back, and our observations that tourist helicopters are deterring a lot of recovery efforts. We know people that refuse to move back because of the noise, and a brief sample of the noise. Okay, the flights purposely target Leilani Estates. They fly straight down over HPP and Hawaiian beaches and fly straight to the heart of our community, anywhere from 10 to 12 hours a day with that kind of noise continuously the whole day. It is a deterrent, I think, to our recovery to have to deal with the noise, and it's not going to be easy for people to move back and establish a normal life when they're dealing with the trauma of trying to build homes and clean out catchment tanks. And outside, they're going to be listening to that all day long, every day. So we need to start thinking about how to get these guys off our backs.
Thank you. And sir, you are?
Bob Ernst from High Comp. I wasn't here just to hold this up.
Okay. Bob from,
High Comp, Hawaii Island
High
Coalition,
Comp. Okay.
Malamapono. The sole
All right.
purpose of High Comp is to address the tour helicopter noise issue.
okay.
We're asking Serenity to be returned to Hawaii Island, free of tour copter noise. This is a radar shot. High Comp has radar capability to track the helicopters, and it shows the helicopters doing 6 or 7 rotations around Fissure 8. A very noisy operation. It's a hovering operation. This area was closed to helicopters. It was a no-fly zone until your mayor, Harry Kim, reopened it up for the tour helicopters. So if you've been bothered by helicopter noise, that's why. High Comp would like to ask the following question of Governor Ige, of Mayor Kim, of Senator Schatz, Senator Hirano, Representative Garbett, and Representative Hanabusa. High Comp is advocated with your governor, with your mayor, with your congressional delegation to represent you, the community, and address this noise impact issue caused by the tour helicopters. It's sad to say that your governor, your mayor, and your congressional delegation has done zero. This has been going on for 40 plus years. It's been exacerbated by this lava inundation of Punamakai, and totally unnecessarily what has happened here to the people that are suffering from the lava, and now they're suffering from the helicopter noise also. And these helicopters, as you know, fly all the way from Hilo over Pana Ava through HPP, totally unnecessarily. We've asked that the governor, the mayor, and the congressional delegation do for Hawaii Island what was done for Long Island, fly offshore. And you've had zero representation from your elected representatives, and that needs to change. Those were my questions. Mahalo nui.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Next speaker. Hi.
Aloha. Aloha. My name is Carl Mendonsa. I lost my home in Kapoho Vacation Land.
Okay.
I'm also
I'm sorry, your name?
Carl
Carl?
Mendonsa.
Carl Mendonsa from Kapoho?
Yeah, I lost a home at
Okay.
Kapoho Vacation Land. I'm also a member of High Comp.
Okay.
And I was watching your presentation here this evening on the long-term recovery.
Okay.
And in it, it has a section about public health. And it was distressing to me that it did not address the harassment and noise pollution from helicopter tours. That really needs to be addressed. The community of Leilani and those communities that the helicopters fly over, it will be an impact, trust me. And you may be living with it for years to come, depending on what happens with Fissure 8. So it needs to be addressed right up front and put into that report that that is a concern, an issue, and people will be impacted mentally and harassed by tour helicopters.
Okay. All right, thank you for that comment, sir. Next question. Run, Welfrey, run.
It's a mascot for Colorado State University.
Oh, okay,
and,
I like it.
Yeah, it's the buffalo. But anyhow,
You are
I am Greg Wiedeman. I
Greg
live in Leilani Estates.
from Leilani Estates. Could you get closer to the mic, please, sir?
And I'm at Oniloa and Malama. And supposedly a voluntary evacuation. Now, we've been there 24/7 since it started. We realize the danger. We do know the health risk. We know what's going on. But these people making a decision have never been there. Most of these people that come are coming there for a publicity. And I think that they should come and they should have a meeting in Leilani at the community center. They should open the community center. They should restore the telephone service. And us, as electors, do not feel that the electees are representing us, but they are representing big money. Who is it to gain? Geothermal has a lot to gain if everybody gets out of here. The tourists, the helicopters, are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars to harass us. And I think that the electees ought to listen to electors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And our next speaker is,
Mona Mendoza from Opihikau.
okay, we have Mona from Opihikau.
I have 4 things. I'd like the first thing to be is, can you change the meetings back to Tuesday? Wednesday is a community event and Uncle Robert's has been in existence for over 20 years. That's a community that we're not having here. And I'm sure there's a lot of reasons, and respectfully, I just ask if you go back to Tuesday or another night other than Wednesday.
Okay.
The second thing is the next steps really makes no mention, or maybe I missed it, of the emotional communication to the rest of the Aina. We had to go to Kona to get windows to fit our home. As you know, all of us, some of us are making it airtight so we can live in Kamaili Road. And they didn't have any idea that we were still displaced. That we go to Hilo to stores, and some have no idea that we still don't have running water. I still don't have drinking water yet. I'm far better off than others. That's not the point. We are all in it together. But we all need to have communication to community members, the people at the stores, that it's still not easy. So I'd like to have that be somewhere in some next steps.
Okay.
Or current steps would be great too.
Yeah.
The other thing is a common answer that I hear or that I read, because I started getting the newspaper because of this next statement. We don't all have access to internet. I can't look something up if I don't have access to it where I live. So please don't leave us out here uninformed. When you stop giving us the USGS updates every morning, I'm looking over there, because we then are cut off from your communication. So we need to continue to have communication. And lastly, I know my time is up, is I want to reiterate, not only for the youth, but for the community and for all of us, please, safely, of course, open Poho'iki.
All right, thank you. And who do we have now?
Hello, I'm DeLance Wiggly. I've lived on the south end of Nohea Street in the mandatory evacuation area for the last 16 years.
Lance Wiggly?
Yes.
Okay.
A couple thank yous First to Sharon and Dennis that have manned the barricade, volunteers for week after week, day after day. Also, you see some of the gentlemen in the blue shirt there are members of the Leilani Community Association, the Community Watch. They're in there every day helping us and helping, civil defense. I spent 30 years in the military and had some real interesting jobs, but I wouldn't want your job. One question of concern, Madam Pele has taken a nap. The lava right now, we're not sure what's going to happen, but there's been a lot of Pele's hair, cinders, glass particulates out there that are in our community, especially in the south side of Leilani Estates. Somebody needs to tell me when it's safe to take my 7-year-old second grader from Pahoa here back into my home. Also, my sister-in-law lives across the street, single lady, 2 cats. She's afraid to go home because of what these particulates will do to her animals. Thank you very much.
Love the hat, by the way. Just curious, would this be our last question or comment for the night? Okay. All right, sir.
My name's Jeffrey Last. I'm 34-year resident of Leilani Estates.
Jeffrey, you're
Last. L-A-S-T, yes.
Okay.
And
From Leilani.
34-year resident. I want to iterate what Steve Hirakami said. We need Pohiki opened. First, they can do that by going over the road down there in the Mackenzie with bulldozers, and they can open that in a week. I know they can, so that it's passable. I want to see that done, and everybody in this community, maybe not everybody, wants to see it done before they open the road to PGV. Yes, everybody likes to hear that road, PGV. Well, those people are salivating right now to get their plant open so they can have an industrial park down there. And there's going to be a lot of problems if they bulldoze that road first into the PGV before they open up Pohiki. Let me tell you that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next question.
Yeah, hello, my name is Mark Figley. I live at the end of Malama Street.
Okay, Mark Figley at the end of Malama Street.
And I just want to say that it's in the mandatory evacuation zone. I was in that zone a lot of days while Fissure 8 was active and pouring out lava at the rate of 100 cubic meters a second. And most of those days I was moving things out, and in most of those days I never even had to wear a respirator. Since Fissure 8 stopped, now you drive down to the end and go look over towards Fissure 7 and Fissure 21. They're putting out plumes. I was in there yesterday, and I was only there for about a half hour, and I ended up putting on a respirator. I was in there today for about 20 minutes and got the SO2 headache. So let's not get ahead of our skis and not figure this thing's over, because it's not.
Thank you, sir. Next question. Hi.
Hello, my name is Keith Rainin.
Okay, Keith
I live in
Rainin.
the mandatory evacuation zone.
Okay, mandatory evacuation zone.
And in my job, I run across a lot of people in the community who ask me the same thing.
Okay.
You know, when are you going back? Have they let you back? One reoccurring theme is with them opening up Hawaii Volcano National Park, why are they not letting us in?
Okay.
If it's safe for the tourists to go in there, why is it not safe for the people to go back to their homes?
To their homes, okay.
And this is a question I've been asked almost a dozen times. And I ask it myself. So that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Aloha. Olivia Cockcroft, 30-year resident of Vacation Land Ag Lots.
Okay, Olivia
Cockcroft.
Cockcroft, Vacation Land.
It's the same old thing. There's 3 roofs remaining in Kapoho, and we don't have much voice because it's obliterated. I want to know what the plan is and know it sooner than later because there's hardly a pulse, and we're dying to get our lives going again. Particularly me, agricultural. I still have about an acre or so of viable land, and I can get there without crossing the new, but it's stopped 5 feet from my fish hatchery. So do I get a fine for going in and harvesting my fruit? I'd like to know what the range of forecast is for Kapoho. I'd like to know what the forecast is for Highway 132 corridor between Lava Tree and Four Corners. Everything seems pretty focused on Leilani, and rightfully so. If the lava stays away, what is the projected timeline for the recovery of our evacuated communities? Period.
Aloha, my name's Kalia Avery, and I live in Leilani Estates.
Okay, Kalia Avery, Leilani Estates.
I'm a tour guide from Hawaii, and I have been for 30 years.
Okay.
And I'm starting to hear a little bit about maybe the national park moving down into Pahoa. I think we really need to take our time in all of these new ideas that we're thinking about for our community. It's very important that we take our time. The infrastructure to Pahoa is not set up so that we can have 1 million tour people down here all the time. We don't want that. We didn't move to Puna to have 1 million people coming down here to make this the new national park. So I feel like it's really important. I know there's a lot of people in Pahoa that are hurting for money. I'm hurting for money. There's no more tour guide work here. So I took a job at the Boys and Girls Club for $10 an hour. Everybody, please pay attention, see what you can do for our community. But we don't want money to rush in here because they will. The corporations like PGV and the national park will rush in here, and the coastline is very valuable. So don't give up your land. Don't give up your land in Leilani. Let's pay attention to what's happening, and we all need to take part in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kahil. Are there any more questions or comments at this time?
Yeah, see, I jotted some of the questions down as far as what is the criteria for lifting mandatory evacuation zones? So that's I think that's the Leilani area. So definitely consultation with HVO. They dropped their warning status, so we move ahead. Work and identify all the different hazards, the risks, so the fallout. HVO also has expertise in that. Also, Department of Health. So, you know, as far as that one question, what is the hazards or the risks with fallout with the Pele's hair and the tephra? So it's basically a respiratory, eye, skin irritant. So imagine getting glass, fine particles of glass in your eyes and skin. So for anybody with kids, it'll be nasty out there in the yard with them. One side note, recognizing that, we have asked FEMA about cleaning up that. I know they've addressed as far as cleaning up gutters and water tanks. I think they said there's one rotation of doing that per residence, but we also asked them what is the situation with cleaning up yards. I guess there's situations like with wildland fire where they might do something like that, also with floods. So that's one question we are waiting to be answered from FEMA. So back to the criteria. So it's identifying the hazards, mitigating the hazards. We talk to the experts, we talk to all our partners. And as I said earlier when I talked, we're moving in that direction. And, you know, unless the lava starts up again, I think we'll get resolution soon that the evacuation order will be rescinded. 60 days, you know, as far as the declaration, that's just a time period. The mayor can sign put additional rules or rescind part parts of that order at any time. So it doesn't lock us into 60 days. As far as Pohiki, we did have a meeting with the mayor and some folks from the community discussing that. And the plans will be developing to create some kind of access, some kind of road access into that area. So the folks have offered to front the construction, do the construction, but the mayor said, no, we'll do it. And that was the last I heard this afternoon. So that's the case with Pohiki. Thank you. Okay, so the only other one left is 132, and right now we understand, there's a lot of private property in there that we know that if we open that area up, that's where all the visitors, that's where everybody will be going to go look at this lava. So to protect the private property, to protect these people from going up on the flow field, and we have had people fall in up in that area. HVO has told us that area is very fragile. When we were considering putting in the public viewing in that area, we were told that because one of our desires was to put in a trail to get people to high ground so they could see the fissure areas. We were told that the Shelley Pahoa is very fragile and that people will be breaking through. The scientists are telling us that, so we got to take that for a fact. So to keep people safe, to protect private property, 132 is going to be maintained until we can come up with a management plan. We're still trying to get tours into there, but it's got to be managed area as far as controlling folks where they can go and so forth. So that's 132. I think every place else has been opened at this time. Government Road, Opiikau, those checkpoints have been taken down, so what's left is just 132 and the Leilani Estates area.
Do you know the spot?
So right now, if you got to cross the lava, if you have a residence in there or you got property in there, right, so we're authorizing those people to go in there to their property. We're just controlling it by requesting that you ask us for, yes.
I'm not going over the lava, I'm going around.
Okay. Right, so we're trying to keep people safe. So, if the lava's on your property, you're fine to be on your property, but just stay off the lava. Okay? I can't see.